This is Dr. Lin of Rehab and Revive Physical Therapy. As you know, I've done a lot of videos, and this one's going to be a little different. I think we want to call it a new series. We want to call it Your Story or My Story. And this one, I think, is a little bit more intimate. I think instead of having all these solutions, kind of how these solutions started coming about. And a lot of the things that I've put on the channel have been more of the how to do it or do it yourself and understanding your pain and all that. But I think understanding that where it comes from and where I really want the whole population out there to really see me is that I was a patient too, just like many of you who live in pain. Was it not too long ago that I had to deal with a lot of these things, and I think for the most part a lot of it came from when I was younger. And so this is a personal story, and I think we'll try to capture more stories with other folks or other patients and other people that come into Rehab and Revive in our life. But I think that the whole premise is that you're not alone, and there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. There's just sometimes it's the understanding that there's a journey through this whole process, that it's our health. We have to do everything we can to take care of it, and we got to do whatever it takes to find whatever solution that's going to help you, whether it's acupuncture, physical therapy, exercise, massage, Reiki. I know there's patients that go out there and that's kind of what it is that is going to help us solve so we can go on, be productive people in society. And I think those are really important to me as a driver in this Rehab and Revive channel as well. So without further ado, I just want to take you back. I would say a lot of what we do here at the center, at the clinic, is really delve with nerve pain. And eventually I think I'd like to do more of a series on nerves. I'm a little hesitant right now about it, but I know there's so many of you out there that are dealing with nerve pain. I actually do believe that in the next 20 years, the research is going to catch up, and we're really going to find that inflammation is, number one. But what's really driving this inflammation is nerve pain. And I think for me, I've dealt with nerve pain much of my life, and I can't fault my parents for being born. But sometimes I spent a lot of time just want to blame them for this life, this body that I knew was a little bit different than everybody else's. I would say, ever since I was pre-pubescent, I could tell that things were getting tight in my body. I just was too young to verbalize a lot of it, and I would do crazy things to try to get myself out of this weird pain. It was really weird, and I'd have things, like I would take a razor, and this is a crazy story, but my feet were so tight, and I didn't really understand what it was, and I actually, just to get relief, I would slit myself, not because I wanted to cut myself, not because I it was so irritated that I slit myself, made myself bleed a little bit, and of course it felt good when it happened. Like I made a little tear, I gave myself some more space. But truth is, I cut myself and it bled, and of course it was much more painful to be on my feet much after. So my sister would sit there and watch me, and it was like really tormenting. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I just need something, and I think this is gonna help me." Even to that extent, and that was extreme. I was 6 or 7 at that time, and it troubles me that there's a video with my nephew that he already has some of this nerve pain, and it comes at such a young age. And I think whether it's coming out of the birth canal, being squeezed in the head, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the food, I don't know, and I'm gonna be out there trying to seek the answers just as much as you are, and I think that's my commitment to my patients. That's my commitment to you all, to commitment to my students, that I'm gonna keep learning about this, because God forbid, I would hate my future children to have to go through something like that and not be able to tell me, not be able to verbalize what it is. I think the world needs to be educated finally. I think it's time that we need to really go out there and really talk about what it is. There's something that's it's not joint pain, it's not muscle pain, it's not a tear, you're not crazy, I'm not crazy. And I spent my life trying to figure that out. And I was a great athlete all through high school, but I hit that growth spurt, and then guess what? The nerves tightened up some more. And then I started having shin pains and growing pains, and my performance started going down. And I believe just as I grew, my nerves didn't grow as fast, and I always felt that way, maybe that things were just caging me in or imprisoning me in this dungeon. And I felt so alone. I felt that no one could understand. I felt that there was so much torment inside, that these high, these frayed wires were just attacking me daily. So I made it my life's, choice to go into this profession, to really, not knowing that this was what I was trying to understand, because at that time, my best knowledge was physical, was working out. And just like everybody else, they go towards that thinking that if I work out, I feel better. And of course, as I worked out, I feel better. But not realizing that what I was doing, overstretching, foam rolling, over exercising and stimulating all these things, of course helped momentarily. But I think what happened was it just kept closing down more and more up until, my late 20s. And then, when I should be probably at my best physical peak, I was almost shattered. I tore my knee. All these different things started collapsing. I herniated my discs in my neck, in my lower back, and I really should be in a wheelchair today. But I refuse to give up on trying to find the answers, because for someone that has all the education, and I was practicing and everything like that, I too was vulnerable to what everyone else faces. I'm not invincible, but I'm okay being vulnerable. And I'm okay trying to understand that that's kind of the inspiration, or the driver of what it takes, of what I've done here at Rehab and Revive and our channel and all the exercises. I go back and I'm critical about it, but I think my story that I hope a lot of people get to learn is that there's so many things out there, and don't stop looking for the right answer. This may not be the right answer, but at least my best knowledge is what I'm putting out there right now for you all to take home. I think that when I was having numbness or tingling and my foot was dropping, I was tripping over myself while working, and my right arm, I can't even feel my right arm. And these are people coming to me looking for answers. I didn't even have answers for myself. I think that was the ultimate draw, and I really was ready to quit this profession. I thought this thing was harming me. My heart, I had some crazy things with the vagus nerves in the heart that were driving my blood pressure to the roof, giving me panic attacks. It wasn't fair. I didn't feel like it was fair. What was going on to me. I felt like a victim. And that's where I came up with the saying, don't be a victim, be a manager, be a pain manager. And that's where I came from. And I think, a lot of the world, what they feel, my hypothesis is actually nerve pain. We just don't know it yet. And I'm willing to risk my neck and my reputation out there. I've made my practice a nerve pain center to understand it a little bit more, to help those with it. And generally when they feel like they've found a place that they can share, that they're not crazy, I tell them they're not crazy because I've lived through it. I know you're not crazy because I've lived through it. I know I wasn't crazy when a psychologist, a psychiatrist, these pain management doctors, I've seen 20, 30, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get solutions that weren't going to get me anywhere. And it wasn't until I dug deeper into realms of manual therapy that really were the savior, and then the more I learned, the better I got. It's not perfect still. I still live with, a lot of it, but I would tell you I'm better now than I was when I was 16 hitting growth spurt. I don't feel like I have to cut myself to feel the fascial tension release or the nerve tension release. There are ways that can help us, and I hope I can bring that to the population. But I realized that, inside it was such a lonely place, and that no one could say to me that, hey, Justin, I understand. I understand what you're going through. I understand that this is a difficult time. I almost wanted compassion. People were just like, you're a normal, healthy 20-something-year-old. You're a normal, healthy 30-something-year-old. What are you doing here? Are you trying to get pills? Are you trying to get surgery and stuff like that? And after 7 surgeries, I've had it. I think if I had one more surgery, I'd end up in the loony bin, with all this anesthesia running through my system. And I think the culture has to change. I think, my best recommendation is that we start understanding what this nerve pain thing is all about. And I think, our body's going to do everything it can to avoid nerve pain. It's going to do everything it can to it'll shift joints, it'll create arthritis just to avoid severing your nerves and severing your organs. And I think that, if we can start there, I think a lot of our chronic pain understanding really can start having a new name, a new cause, a new plan. I think we need to have a new plan towards targeting chronic pain. It's not fibromyalgia. It's not chronic fatigue syndrome. If your nerves are fired up and angry all the time, yes, you're going to be fatigued. It's not, reflex sympathetic disorder. It's not all these labels. You can get bogged down and it's so tiring. I mean, I was called, fibromyalgia. I had, chronic regional pain syndrome. I had thoracic outlet syndrome. I had radiculitis. I had, that just starts stacking on someone's soul, and you feel so helpless. And I myself, as both a practitioner and a patient, was just so infuriated that no one had the answers. And if it's me that has to find the answers, then that's what I'm gonna do. And I wasn't gonna give up. And I think the whole story and understanding my story is that I'm alongside with you all. You're not alone. And I'm not alone because I have a whole clinic filled with patients just like this, just like me, going through the same thing, who have gone through the same thing that I had gone through as I get through this. And it touches me every time when patients I could see their sigh of relief. They're just like, oh, you understand what I'm going through. And sometimes I may not fully understand what they're going through with their everyday life, but I do feel that because I have had to go through this cursed time, it is also my blessing. And I think I can now look at the sunnier side of things, or the better side of things at the end of the tunnel, or getting towards the end of the tunnel, that it's a process. And my thought is that, like I said, you don't give up, it's a process. And we really believe that, we can and we will get better together. So, that's my story. I've had to go through so much stuff. I've had to live through it. I don't wish that upon any of my children. I don't wish that on anybody in my family, my friends, but it's there, it's coming. And, I think the more we understand about this, we can really do it together and find the solutions that need to get addressed, and really change the culture of medicine, away from the pills, numbing ourselves. And so, I'm really stick my reputation out there, but, I think that's what it is. And like I said, you're not alone, I'm not alone, and we can do this together. I'm Dr. Lin, and I'll see you next time.